freedom of the gift, foundation of the spousal meaning of the body, from General Audience number 15 of January 16th, 1980. We continue today the analysis of the text of Genesis we have undertaken according to the line of Christ's teaching. We recall, in fact, that in the dialogue about marriage he appealed to the beginning. The revelation, together with the original discovery of the spousal meaning of the body, consists in presenting man, male and female, in the whole reality and truth of his body and his sex. They were naked. And at the same time, in the full freedom from all constraint of the body and of its sex. A witness of this seems to be the nakedness of our first parents, interiorly free from shame. One can say that created by love, that is, endowed in their being with masculinity and femininity, both are naked because they are free with the very freedom of the gift. This freedom lies exactly at the basis of the spousal meaning of the body. The human body, with its sex, its masculinity and femininity, seen in the very mystery of creation, is not only a source of fruitfulness and of procreation, as in the whole natural order, but contains from the beginning the spousal attribute, that is, the power to express love, precisely that love in which the human person becomes a gift, and through this gift fulfills the very meaning of his being and existence. We recall here, in the text of the most recent council, in which it declares that man is the only creature in the visible world that God willed for its own sake, adding that this man cannot fully find himself except through a sincere gift of self. Gaudium et Spes 24:3. The root of that original nakedness, free from shame, about which Genesis chapter 2 verse 25 speaks, must be sought precisely in the integral truth about man. In the context of their beatifying beginning, man and woman are free with the very freedom of the gift. In fact, in order to remain in the relation of the sincere gift of self, and in order to become a gift, each for the other, through their whole humanity, made of femininity and masculinity, also in reference to the perspective that Genesis chapter 2 verse 24 speaks about, they must be free in exactly this way. Here we mean freedom above all as self-mastery, self-dominion. Under this aspect, self-mastery is indispensable in order for man to be able to give himself, in order for him to become a gift, in order for him, referring to the words of the council, to be able to find himself fully through a sincere gift of self. Gaudium et Spes. In this way, the words, "they were naked but did not feel shame," can and should be understood as the revelation, together with the discovery of the freedom that makes possible and qualifies the spousal meaning of the body, the spousal character of the body and the revelation of the person. Genesis chapter 2 verse 25, however, says even more. In fact, this passage indicates the possibility and the characteristic qualification of such a reciprocal experience of the body. Further, it allows us to identify that spousal meaning of the body in actu. When we read that both were naked but did not feel shame, we indirectly touch its root, as it were, and directly already its fruits. Interiorly free from the constraint of their bodies and of sex, free with the freedom of the gift, man and woman were able to enjoy the whole truth, the whole self-evidence of the human being, just as God Yahweh had revealed it to them in a mystery of creation. This truth about man, which the council's text explains with the words quoted above, has two main emphases. The first affirms that man is the only creature in the world that the Creator willed for its own sake. The second consists in saying that this same man, willed in this way by the Creator from the beginning, can only find himself through a disinterested gift of self, Gaudium et Spes. Now, this truth about man, which seems in particular to gather within itself the original condition linked with man's very beginning in the mystery of creation, can be reread on the basis of the council's texts in both directions. Such a rereading helps us to understand even more the spousal meaning of the body, which is evidently inscribed in the original condition of man and woman, according to Genesis chapter 2, verses 23 through 25, and particularly in the meaning of their original nakedness. If, as we have noted, the interior freedom of the gift, the disinterested gift of self, lies at the root of nakedness, then precisely this gift allows both the man and the woman to find each other reciprocally, inasmuch as the Creator willed each of them for his own sake. See Gaudium et Spes 24:3. In the first beatifying encounter, the man thus finds the woman, and she finds him. In this way, he welcomes her within himself, and she welcomes him within herself, welcomes her as she is willed for her own sake by the Creator, as she is constituted in the mystery of the image of God through her femininity, and, reciprocally, she welcomes him in the same way as he is willed for his own sake by the Creator and constituted by him through his masculinity. In this consists the revelation and the discovery of the spousal meaning of the body. The Yahwist narrative, and in particular Genesis chapter 2, verse 25, allows us to deduce that man, as male and female, enters the world precisely with this consciousness of the meaning of his own body, of its masculinity and femininity. The human body, oriented from within by the sincere gift of the person, Gaudium et Spes, reveals not only its masculinity or femininity on the physical level, but reveals also such a value and a beauty that it goes beyond the simply physical level of sexuality. In this way, the consciousness of the meaning of the body, linked with man's masculinity and femininity, is in some sense completed. On the one hand, this meaning points to particular power to express the love in which man becomes a gift. What corresponds to this meaning, on the other hand, is power and deep availability for the affirmation of the person. That is, literally, the power to live the fact that the other, the woman for the man and the man for the woman, is, through the body, someone willed by the Creator for his own sake. Gaudium et Spes. That is, someone unique and unrepeatable, someone chosen by eternal love. The affirmation of the person is nothing other than welcoming the gift, which, through reciprocity, creates the communion of persons. This communion builds itself from within, while also taking into itself man's whole exteriority, that is, all that constitutes the pure and simple nakedness of the body and its masculinity and femininity. At that time, as we read in Genesis chapter 2, verse 25, the man and the woman did not feel shame. The biblical expression "did not feel" directly points to experience as a subjective dimension. The spousal meaning of the body is the fruit of rootedness in love. Precisely in this subjective dimension, as two human eyes, determined by their masculinity and femininity, both the man and the woman appear in the mystery of their beatifying beginning, we see here the state of man's original innocence and at the same time original happiness. This appearance is short, because it includes only a few verses in Genesis. It is, however, full of a surprising content that is theological and anthropological at the same time. The revelation and discovery of the spousal meaning of the body explain man's original happiness, and at the same time, they open the perspective of his own earthly history, in which he will never withdraw from this indispensable theme of his own existence. The following verses of Genesis, according to the Yahwist text of Genesis chapter 3, show, one must admit, that this historical perspective will be built differently than the beatifying beginning after original sin. It is all the more necessary, however, to penetrate deeply into the mysterious structure, theological, and at the same time anthropological, of this beginning. In fact, in the whole perspective of his own history, man will not fail to confer a spousal meaning on his own body. Even if this meaning does undergo and will undergo many distortions, it will always remain the deepest level, which demands that it be revealed in all its simplicity and purity, and manifested in its whole truth as a sign of the image of God. Here we also find the road that goes from the mystery of creation to the redemption of the body. See Romans chapter 8. While we remain for now on the threshold of this historical perspective, we clearly grasp, based on Genesis chapter 2, verses 23 through 25, the connection that exists between the revelation discovery of the spousal meaning of the body and man's original happiness. This spousal meaning is also beatifying, and as such, it definitively shows the whole reality of the act of giving about which the first pages of Genesis speak to us. Reading them convinces us that the consciousness of the meaning of the body deriving from this gift, in particular the consciousness of the spousal meaning of the body, constitutes the fundamental component of human existence in the world. One can understand the spousal meaning of the human body only in the context of the person. The body has a spousal meaning because the human person, as the council says, is a creature that God willed for his own sake, and that at the same time cannot fully find himself except through the gift of self, Gaudium et Spes. While Christ reveals to man and woman another vocation, above the vocation to marriage, namely renouncing marriage in view of the kingdom of heaven, he highlights the same truth about the human person with this vocation. If a man or a woman is capable of making a gift of self for the kingdom of heaven, This shows in turn, and perhaps even more, that the freedom of the gift exists in the human body. This meaning that this body possesses a full spousal meaning.